This was the best performing team probably in ASU history relative to expectations. Being picked 16th, coming from a 3-9 in consecutive seasons to the greatest year-over-year improvement in program history. Even the way that they lost in that Peach Bowl, the 4th and 13 on a zero blitz, is representative of the type of season that they had.
This is going to be a much different offseason for the Sun Devil football program. And there's going to be a lot of talk in terms of preseason trophies and rankings and things like that when we get to next fall.
Yeah, certain things will be a little bit more difficult, but the reality is when you are focused on process and not the result, you're still going to be able to buy into what you need to do on an everyday basis to improve yourself. That's what enabled them to be in this position. The players fully bought into that. Obviously, look at Cam Scadaboo. He was one of the team's most improved players going from his junior to senior season. So they want to make the most of who they are, and that doesn't change based upon external expectations or thoughts about how good you may or may not be.
When you look moving forward too, you mentioned some of the top guys. Pretty much everybody was a starter coming back. The way that this program in the athletic department has built up their NIL fundraising and stuff too in that regard. I mean, they seem pretty competitive now and the ability to keep and maintain the top talent that is here.
Well, twofold response. I would say players are so happy being at ASU given the success and the development that they've had, and they aspire to play in the NFL, and so they want to maximize the opportunity to be drafted. And so there's a potential, I think, to keep players for below what would be their market value, like if they just decided to go to the highest bidder, let's say, hypothetically. Um, I don't think that that's a big issue for them.
How important is it to have a guy like Sam Levitt? Obviously, he seems like he's got the connection he has with Kenny, and he's young. He wants to be here and be a part of this. I think he said something about he wanted to have a statue someday here. That's the kind of legacy he wants to have at Arizona State. How important is it to have a guy like him in place?
Robbie, I feel fortunate that before this past season, I wrote that Sam Levitt was going to be the most important player that Kenny Dillingham ever coached, because the way that this season played out makes that look like Dillingham is in a different category as a head coach in terms of how he's perceived and what is now possible at ASU. And there's no way that would have happened without Sam Levitt being as good as he was as a redshirt freshman starter. He had the fewest interceptions of all the regular starting quarterbacks in the Big 12. He had the best quarterback rating of anyone who wasn't yet 20 years old at the conclusion of the regular season. He had tied for 13th overall nationally in quarterback PFF, Pro Football Focus grade. So if you have that and you're a coaching staff, that is a very special thing.